But one of the keys that we're at today is our industrial development activities are almost outpacing some of our other readiness elements in our community. And I'm talking about placemaking. I'm talking about housing. I'm talking about live, work, and play activities in our population centers in our downtowns. That's part of the reason why we've become very invested in a lot of the downtown revitalization initiative activities and projects. Well, really, it's about the local economy and how we can continue to work away and move things forward, creating opportunities for our residents and our kids. That's really what it's all about in economic development. And I think 2020 is going to be a good year. So we've got lots of activity going on here. In fact, I think just our board meeting last week, we saw 10 projects come through, our board with really a range of opportunities, everything from, again, food and beverage, knocking it out of the park, HP Hood, WAC Upstate, growing, got a couple projects working with us on, distribution and warehousing, kind of the silent rock star in our community that's growing, and we've got a new project coming in at our Gateway 2 Park, and the Gateway 2 Park, effectively, all of the land has been sold to 2 different developers because of growth opportunities. We don't have that much left in the ag park, so it's been pretty gratifying to see the growth there. That's been less than a straight line to build that, but I think it shows when you build quality industrial parks that are suited for industries that have growth, like ag being the heartland here in Genesee County and the region, you can create that next level of economic opportunity for your residents and job opportunities. So there's a lot going on. The placemaking activities in downtown Batavia are really ramping up, and the DRI, and we're very excited, but cautious about the Ellicott Station project, which really is a cornerstone of all the downtown revitalization. So I think it's going to be a good year. They really are banging it out and really got great growth right now. When they committed to coming to the Genesee Valley Agri-Business Park back in 2017, their chairman, a wonderful man, John Canip. In fact, I think, Howard, you met with him and visited with him. He said that there was really 3 things to their success, that they've got multiple operations across the country. And he said, really, it's good people, it's hard work, and a little bit of luck. And he said their largest dairy manufacturing campus is in Winchester, Virginia, of about 1 million square feet under roof, and 1,000 workers there. And he said to us, he goes, Steve, he goes, it's almost understood that we're going to be able to get good people, and the work ethic in Western New York, he goes, is undeniable. He goes, but with a little bit of luck and the ability to get enough good people, he goes, there was a real potential that we could achieve similar results what they're over a multi-year period of time of what they're seeing in Virginia. And you know what? They're buying 22 more acres at the ag park as we speak. So, they haven't committed to any big growth like that, but they're growing very fast. They're having a lot of success. They committed to 230 jobs over a 5-year growth period when they bought the plant and renovated it back in 2017. They've invested over $200 million on top of what was already invested. That plant has been expanded from 324,000 square feet to 448,000 square feet today. And they're at 258 employees today. They've already exceeded their 5-year growth path. And they've got a hiring job fair this Thursday because they're looking for people. I think they got 50 more jobs right now they're trying to fill. So we've had over 30 potential companies kick the tires at STAMP. We had the one, of course, commitment, and that slid away because of a change in funding through the federal government, which is certainly not anything, that we can control or affect. We've had another company go the distance to 5 levels of due diligence and site visits and months of that. The market's validated that the site's relevant, and for big tech projects. So we continue to focus on that, but the real challenge we've had is the site still continues to need more investment to expand the infrastructure and the capacity. And so and that's really been the feedback back, is you got to get the site more ready, and that's really dependent on funding. And so we continue to work with the state, they continue to work with us, we continue to make progress to that end. In fact, we're really getting to the point this year where we're going to kind of we're really kind of focusing our target marketing on the site between the North Campus, which is 850 acres, and the South Campus, which is about 400. By the end of this year, the South Campus is going to be shovel ready. What that's going to allow us to do is really dial in our marketing. We're going to focus on food and beverage, actually, in the southern part of the campus, and warehousing and distribution, because the capacities of what's going to be shovel ready, and as far as water, sewer, electric, meet the needs of those industries. So we're going to really focus on those industries, diversify the focus, still focus on clean tech and tech up in the North Campus, but we still got to do more there to get the site really ready for that. But by the end of this year, we're really going to be in a good space to go hard on the South Campus. Those are the challenges that we live with every day. And you know what? Upstate New York has been in decline for 50 years, and many people say it, but that's part of the reason why you have to swing for the fences on big industrial development projects. The only way that you're going to bring yourself out of a situation where you're going to turn that economy around, you're going to have the chance to change the trajectory of your economic cycle, is by doing things different and swinging for the fences. And in our case, we have this advantage at the STAMP site, and the Ag Park is kind of proof positive that you can do it at scale. We've had a lot of success at the Ag Park, which has proven, I think, to a lot of the investors at the state level that STAMP can work. We have some very specific things at STAMP, like lowest hydropower electric cost in the country. That makes you very well positioned for projects like that. You marry that up with wonderful higher ed and commuting distances from Buffalo to Rochester and great higher and secondary ed all around us. Those kind of things allow you to be able to compete and succeed. But you have to develop your community in an ecosystem type approach with multiple pillars, all of which we focus on, where you're focusing on building infrastructure. You're working on very refined workforce development models. We're working on programs with all the area school districts and Genesee Valley education partners to get kids interested in STEM and skilled trades careers all the way down at 4th grade right now. Because that's the only way, especially in this environment where the labor markets are so tight, you got to start to positively influence children on there's these careers out there. And you know what? They don't have to be careers where you just go get a 4-year degree and have tons of debt. These are kids coming out of high school, 1-year technical degrees and associate degrees, that we've got all kinds of growth in this region and here locally. But you got to develop this. You got to have your downtowns vibrant and thriving. So this ecosystem approach where you're layering workforce development in with site and industrial development, tied in with placemaking, and housing is another big one that we're in the middle of. You've got to get all those things aligned to be able to overcome some of those challenges. We talk about that a lot. I mean, when you look at micropolitans or rurals, it's especially challenging to do economic development because you don't have the resources. Your population is aging faster than urban centers and metros. Your workforce is smaller, and that creates a set of challenges. But you can overcome that by targeting at the industries that really fit well with the demographics and the population and the educational attainment. Like, for instance, we've just had a study that's being finished up by SUNY's think tank, the Rockefeller Institute of Government. We brought them in to look at our strategic assessment of our development model and to look at it and see where there's holes. How can we enhance things? How can we do better? and sharpen the saw. And one of the great ones is an area, rural areas that have much lower land costs, tend to have lower utilities costs, and tend to have lower labor costs than their counterparts in metro urban centers. So one of the things that the study revealed is we have a wonderful population of middle school trained workers, which are workers that have some college up through like associate's degrees. In fact, over 35% of our county population has middle skills experience. That positions us beautifully for a lot of the jobs that we're chasing in our industrial development side, the food and beverage manufacturing, warehousing and distribution. But one of the keys that we're at today is our industrial development activities are almost outpacing some of our other readiness elements in our community. And I'm talking about placemaking. I'm talking about housing. I'm talking about live, work, and play activities in our population centers in our downtowns. And that's part of the reason why we've become very invested in a lot of the downtown revitalization initiative activities and projects. We've got to do more. We've got to get those things coming to life, which they are, but we've got to do more there. We've got to create more housing that's appealing to millennials. We've got to create live, work, and play excitement in our downtown core with festivals and more eateries and things like that to make our community that much more attractive to the younger folks. And then we might be able to close that gap a little bit between where smaller metros in America are winning out, attracting millennials. Well, maybe we can blur that divide by doing the same here in a micropolitan rural community to be able to create those. There's always processes and procedures, and we're not going to be able to get around those when you've got investment from the state coming here. At the same time, I can tell you, I think we can take advantage of the opportunities still. We have a lot going on the industrial development side. We're seeing success there. I mean, the Gateway 2 Park is fully spoken for. The Ag Park is growing like mad. WAC is growing like mad. Yancey's Fancy continues to grow. We have no choice. If we want to survive as in a community and an economy, we have no choice but to do things to lift up our downtown. You don't have thriving economy when the center's decaying. Just isn't going to work. So I think the DRI was a demonstration of support from the governor's office directly that he thinks we can do it. I think there was a lot of people on that local planning committee that put in hours to put the strategy together. And you know what? It doesn't move perfect. Nothing's perfect when it's government money involved. But we're in a season where there's still a lot going on in this economy. We are down to 3 months away from hearing about Ellicott Station. One of the biggest challenges with Ellicott Station was the time it took to get here where we are today. The problem was we set ourselves up because that big announcement back in March of 2016 that, Savarino Companies was chosen. Yeah, they were chosen. That was exciting, but I think we kind of did it to ourselves. We portrayed that as it being ready to break ground. It wasn't. That was just a developer being selected. There wasn't a dollar aligned with it. That's part of the reason why we've engaged so fully in that project, to do all we can to try to help that project get funded. What I've learned in that journey over the last 4 years, I've looked at 15 different business cases, financial models, layering in of different funding programs from like 16 different funding. What I've learned is that is such an expensive undertaking, to taking brownfields that are in the core of your urban area, that sit on the edge of important neighborhoods, and to clean them up and to renovate them and to build new construction and to build renovated construction and to demolish buildings and to make dirty dirt clean again is expensive. And so you need all these multiple programs from the government to be layered together to turn around and make it worthwhile for a private developer to come in and even have a shot at making money and not losing his shirt. And that's what most of the time the last 3 years has been spent, is really just layering in those programs, which many times have competing requirements, and how to get those aligned and then get a submission in so you can go forward. We finally got there with a structure, and it's a competitive decision, but we're hopeful. We're relying on housing and community renewal, hopeful and praying that funding will get approved, because that will activate the brand new construction of 55 new workforce apartments, the type we need for the type of people that OACA and HP Hood and Liberty Pumps and Yancey's are hiring right now at the entry level. And if we can succeed in that, it activates the rest of that restaurant and beer garden model there. And then I think we have the domino effect to a positive, that a lot of these projects start lining up. I know the Galtieri project, super project, renovating Save-A-Lot, 10 new market rate apartments, new space for a restaurant. Those are the kind of things, and they're coming forward. They just came through our board for a little bit of assistance. They're ready to go on their projects. So I think 2020 is the season. We're still hopeful, and the Ellicott Station project's competitive, but I think we got a real shot. And between that and others like the Ellicott Place project, you know what? Let's wait and look out 2 or 3 more years. I think our downtown's going to look a lot different, and I think we're going to be able to maximize some of this economic opportunity that we have a chance to seize. But I'd also say to you, you know what? First off, thriving, it's like I say, and I've said this in public Regional Economic Development Council meetings in Rochester, when you want to build a thriving region, that means you need to make investments for success everywhere. That's not just the metro urban core. You look around just the Finger Lakes region, right? And then you go into Western New York, and you have a lot of small urban cores in your micropolitans and rural communities. And if you really want democracy and free enterprise to work, you need to make sure there's economic opportunity for all. Play right into what I've been almost screaming about, right? Is getting lifestyle energized back in our community. And they offer one of those special attractions for folks of all ages, including the millennials, that we need to come here and work in these growing businesses to have a lifestyle experience. I mean, what is another example of Americana but sitting out in the summer night and seeing fireworks and having a hot dog and hanging out with a beer or a soda, whatever your preference is, and enjoying a good summer American night with a professional baseball.